in what has been a long campaign season, and in which there's been a lot of democracy work that many good people have done on all sides. And I think democracy work is often unheralded in the making of democracy itself. We look at outcomes and we very quickly forget the really important work, most of it volunteer, much of it thankless, that citizens and non-citizens do to make this thing we call democracy actually work. And so my first, I guess my first comment is simply to acknowledge that wonderful work. And I see this work that Duke students have done as really being exemplary of what is beautiful and powerful about democracy work. So what we're going to do today, my name is Gunther Peck. I'm the director of the Heart Leadership Program. And we have been experimenting this year with an effort to amplify the voices of students in asking a simple but provocative question. Why vote? Why do you vote? And part of that question is not only why we individually vote, but how would you make your answer to that question as powerful as it can be to persuade somebody who doesn't think voting matters or is worthwhile? And we have been at the Heart Leadership Program, I just have to say, I'll speak for myself as the director, for Lalita Kadlagatla, our associate director, with Ana Ramirez, our associate in research, and Beth Austin, inspired by the answers that all of the students have created. We have had 71 people submitted videos to this contest, which is fantastic. 71 entrees, I should say, and there are many more people who actually submitted because many people were working in teams to do this good work. So before I introduce the good folks who had the lovely but hard work of deciding the winners, I just want to say as well that really and truly every one of you is a winner in the sense that, in the important sense of having persuaded not just me, but many others that voting is an important part of our civic life. And I do want to have a quick shout out that Duke students, among others, have turned out in record numbers. The work is not done. There are approximately 800 of you who have not yet voted, who are registered here. And if you want to find out how you can help find them, you should contact Jessica Sullivan, who is the head of Duke Votes, right after this call. Sorry, Jessica, to give you more work. We want to facilitate the voting. Our work is not done until 7:30 p.m. tomorrow. One other thing before one other comment to make. One thing I found really inspiring about democracy work and these videos is the aspiration and the critique that they mix together. I think it's easy to think about democracy work and democracy as very much an unfinished, a very imperfect business. And in doing volunteer work myself the past month, I've been impressed by both the aspiration, the inspiration of young people of old in participating, as well as by honestly, the deep despair many people have about what this thing is that we call democracy. What I value in all of these efforts that the students have created is the way so many of you have been fearless in being optimistic and critiquing at the same time. Those are not mutually exclusive. They actually enhance each other. We need to listen to those visions and have aspirations that can critique and bring us to a better place. I wish I had time to show all 71 of these videos to you if you haven't seen them already. They are truly inspiring and they are ferocious in the way they hold nothing back in critiquing what this democracy is not. I value both in equal measure. And I hope you do too. They are inspiring for that. They're not inspiring because they're Pollyannish or optimistic, but because they're real, they're honest, and they're hard-hitting. So, and I wish, and really and truly all of them are winners because they've already done important democracy work. So today we're going to be presenting the winners in 5 categories, and the judges will be presenting the categories and the finalists in each of the 5 categories. And then we will have our one winner of the entire competition that we will announce at the end. So without further ado, I want to introduce the really good people who have been helping us throughout in formulating how to do this, as well as what we want this work to be. First, we have Brian Lewis, who was one of our judges, a senior in not a public policy major. I think he's public policy, and I'm forgetting what his other major is. I'm sorry, Brian, you can correct. And he was one of the judges who helped us in the spring when we did a smaller version of this competition. And Bryant was also hugely beneficial in creating a video that advertised the Why Vote competition. Jessica Sullivan is one of our judges as well. Jessica, as many of you may know, is the leader of Duke Votes, a fantastic student organization that has been leading the Get Out the Vote effort. Jessica is also a near and dear to us in the Heart Leadership Program, because she completed the SOUL program, the Service Opportunity Leadership. And she has made voting rights and student voting rights one of the core practices in her life. And we are excited that she not only has that passion, but also that experiential knowledge. And we thought no one would be better to help us figure out the most persuasive videos. I'll be introducing her momentarily. And then finally, we have Antonia Fairchild, who many of you may know if you've taken a class with me. Antonia is a force, a wonderful creative artist, storyteller, theater producer, teacher, activist, and has insights that really are hugely helpful in helping us see the inspiration that students are aiming for, as well as creating. And so we are so glad to have Antonia judging. And finally, we have Ana Ramirez, our associate in research, who will be a facilitator, and who's also, and her, I should give your younger sister a shout out. I'll let you, she's taking a test right now, but she also was a fabulous judge for us and gave us great insights.
Yeah, so just to quickly introduce her, who couldn't be here tonight. She's a junior at Florida Atlantic University, and she was a fantastic judge because she was completely impartial and not knowing anybody here at Duke. And she has a lot of experience with creating YouTube videos.
And we were grateful for that objective outside eyes. Thank you, Anna. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to begin, and I'm going to begin with by having Jessica lead us in the first, Antonia is going to lead us in the first group. Is that right?
Yes.
And I'll let Antonia describe the category, as well as announce the finalists and then the winner. Thank you, Antonia.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so inspired by all of you as digital storytellers. This generation of content creators is really inspiring to all of us. Our first category is animation. We were looking at the entries that embrace technology and were able to deliver critical voter information or storytelling in an innovative way. So we're going to start with, I'm going to introduce, hold on one moment. Our first entry that we're going to look at is entitled Vote by Mail and Track Online, submission by Chase Johnson, Emma Shakir, and Catherine Thomas. Our next entry in the animation category is entitled Voting is an Essential Tool to Make a Difference by Shania Koo.
We live in a world that is so saturated by disappointing, disheartening, and disorienting news. And it becomes so easy to resolve that my vote won't make a difference, but casting your vote celebrates the long legacy of marginalized communities and people who have fought to be heard, and voting allows us to make many material changes in our local communities and our nation today. From deciding our political leaders, to city budgets, to school resources, to what to do about the climate crisis, voting is one tool that can make so much difference.
Great. Our next entry in this animation category is Don't Take Your Right to Vote for Granted. Submission by Sarah Kane. Our next entry in the animation category is Your Vote is Your Voice. Submission by Catherine Wright. Our next entry in the animation category is Voting for Local, State, and Federal Elections by Talia Halloran.
I vote? It's simple. You'll make your voice heard. Even little elections matter, and this is no little election. Your local votes may determine how justice is served in your area. Your state elections determine funding for education, national congressional districting, and so much more. Your national elections determine the future of our country. So please, make a voting plan, including when, where, and how you plan to vote, and make our democracy work for you.
Excellent. Those are all of our entries in our nominees for Best Animation category. And the winner is Voting is an Essential Tool to Make a Difference by Shania Koo. Congratulations. We felt like Shania's video was really excellent in the embracing of the animation form. I also thought as a theater digital director that her voice, the empathetic sound in her voice and really relating to all of you was really helped this category, this entry. So I think she did a wonderful job in delivering really crucial information in a really inventive way. So congratulations.
Thank you, Antonia. And to reiterate, there are so many, these are such good quality. I don't want people to feel bad if they didn't win. We have the job of holding up really such excellent work. So thank you for all for doing that. Next, we have Jessica, who will introduce the category of humor. And Jessica, take it away.
Yeah, so our next category tonight is humor. In an election cycle that really has been often defined by negativity, these videos really brought levity and humor to our competition. So our nominees tonight are Things You Can Do That Take More Time Than Voting, a submission by Ben Wallace and Gwen Reese. Our next submission is Voting is Sexy, a submission by Georgia Price and Horatio Rios.
Did you see Sam in history class today?
Yeah, they were wearing an I voted sticker.
Civic engagement is so attractive.
I'd never noticed Sam in that way before, but exercising your right to vote makes you a 10 out of 10 in my book.
Totally. And I only date active participants in our democracy. Only 39% of young people show up to polls, so that's slim pickings.
I wish more people knew. Voting is sexy.
The next submission is Among Us, You Should Go Vote, a submission by Joahi Shen and Danae Lee.
Hey, have you thought about voting yet?
I just don't know if I want to vote right now. I don't think there's anyone I would vote for.
I would definitely recommend voting. Voter turnout in many communities is less than 50%, meaning less than half of eligible voters are having their voice heard.
But
Also, there are elections at all levels that go unnoticed, and your vote can make a huge difference for your community.
wow, that's nice. Thanks for your help. I was talking about in the game, though.
And our final entry is Exercise Your Right to Vote by John Honeycutt and Raquel Butner.
Come on, y'all. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, great workout today, guys.
I'm stoked to be in shape this fall.
You know what's more important than being in shape? The shape of our democracy.
Whether mail-in or in person, make sure you exercise your right to vote this election. Whether it's in person or mail-in, I already fucked up.
And the winner is Voting is Sexy by Georgia Price and Horatio Rios. Congratulations, Horatio and Georgia.
Wow. Those are all funny, and it's great to see him again. Congratulations. Congratulations to all the finalists as well. Boy, that's a great category. Okay, the next category, we will return to Antonia, who will introduce our next 5 finalists.
Our next category is global citizenship. The videos in this category are all touched on the message that civic engagement transcends the United States and it touches people globally. So we were looking at that message in these entries. Our first nominee in this category, One Person, One Vote by Jeremy Carballo and Shirley Mather.
Democracy is supposed to be one person, one vote. But in North Carolina, 40% of voters did not vote in the past presidential election.
Por el avance de los latinos.
The most important way I can make myself heard is through voting.
For our next nominee in this category, Votemos Por by Osael Salinas. Our next category in this, our next nominee in this category is Defend Democracy by Jeremy Yu.
Going to march. Can't miss a pair. Why? Why? I think this is my duty. Give me liberty or give me death!
Our next nominee in this category is Now It's Your Turn, Democratic Participation by Paul Kim and Isabel Rewick. Our next nominee in this category, If I Could Vote, by Maria Zorita Ontiveros.
If I could vote. So that's what I'd do if I could vote.
This is such a powerful collection of entries here. So this was a difficult decision. Our winner in this category is If I Could Vote by Maria Zorita Ontiveros. Congratulations, Maria.
So, gosh, there's such, this is inspiring work. I hope you're feeling that way. I was just blown away by how good the vision is. So we'll keep it going. So we respect, I almost want to pause though for a moment because there's such heart in that last group. Okay, so Jessica will introduce our next group and also the 5 entries there. Jessica.
Yep, so our next category of the evening is voting rights in a pandemic. The videos in this category address the importance and urgency of making your voice heard, especially during the current pandemic. Our nominees are Voting is Safe by Devin Wainwright and Serena Biondi.
COVID-19 has changed every aspect of our lives and has the potential to stop millions from casting their ballot. Voting can be safe. Wear the mask proudly, whether it be voting in person, by mail, or even absentee ballots. Don't let COVID-19 stop you from using your voice. Vote to see the changes you want in our country.
The next nominee is How Do You Want 2021 to Be Different by Mary Kim and Megan Lee.
The U.S. facing 200,000 coronavirus deaths.
Some 4.4 million people applied for unemployment benefits last week, as a dangerous and deadly blaze there is growing by the minute, at times throwing fire 20 feet into the air.
Demonstrations extended to nearly every corner of the country and beyond.
Our next nominee is Symptoms of a Failed Democracy, Be Proactive and Vote by Carmen Chavez. Our next nominee is Resist, Inspire, Uplift, and Empower, Vote by Susana Gutierrez. And our final nominee is Now Go Vote by Abigail Phillips and Jerry Lau.
Do you care about the environment? How about healthcare? Or education?
then you should vote up and down the ballot, which you can do here at Karsh Alumni Center from October 15th to the 31st. Or you can go to your local precinct on November 3rd. Now go vote.
And the winner is Resist, Inspire, Uplift, and Empower, Vote by Susana Gutierrez.
Congratulations. Those were all such good entries. Congratulations, Susana. So we are, do we have one additional category, which is kind of a category that we want to directly involve you all in. And meaning we're going to be seeking your feedback as we do this process. There were many videos that didn't quite fit into any of these categories, as well as others that were just really, really good and that we wanted to put together. And so Anna will introduce the People's Choice Award.
Yes, hi everyone. So next we have our People's Choice Awards. We're gonna present 6 videos. And ask our viewers to vote in real time for the best video in this category based on creativity, technique, and persuasion. So basically, after you watch all 6 videos, which of these videos motivates you to exercise your right to vote? After I show all 6 videos, I'll have a poll that you can vote in real time. So our first nominee is Meaningful Change Starts With You, submission by Amaya Rao, Amber Park, and Jamal Smith.
I'm voting because the government belongs to the people.
I'm concerned about the ongoing threats of climate change.
More Americans deserve access to healthcare.
So many people have paved the way for me to be at this point.
Women's and minorities' rights and LGBTQ+ rights.
Access to clean energy.
To express our opinions at the highest level.
The Black Lives Matter movement to be better acknowledged.
Social justice, education.
Elections truly do have consequences.
My vote can make a difference.
Our next nominee in this category is My Vote Matters by Sana Simmer.
My vote doesn't matter.
My vote doesn't matter.
My vote
My vote doesn't matter.
My vote doesn't matter.
My vote doesn't matter.
My vote matters.
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 Next, we have Your Voice Matters, Make a Difference by Grayson Earth.
With an upcoming election, you might find yourself thinking, can my vote really matter? Hold up. Did you know that the 2000 presidential election was ultimately determined by 537 votes in Florida? 500 people decided in the end who our next president would be. So why vote? Because if you don't, you're electing not to count. Your vote matters. Your voice matters.
Next, we have Unmute Yourself by Gracie Drew.
All right, class, so now is your chance to speak up if you have any concerns or suggestions about how the class is being run right now. So go ahead and unmute yourself if you want to speak up.
Hi, Professor. So I actually do have a concern about...
Okay, well, since no one really spoke up, class dismissed. See you all tomorrow.
Next, we have History Has Its Eyes on You by Michael Bennett.
Each of us has a moral responsibility if we are of voting age and if we are registered to participate in that decision. I come here to urge every person under the sound of my voice to go to the polls on the 3rd of November and vote your conviction.
And next we have Go Team, Go Vote, submission by Caroline Kasser.
Go Duke!
Go Heels!
Go Harvard.
Go Yale.
Go Tigers!
Go Badgers.
Go Elon!
Go Alabama.
Go Ducks!
Go Bishops.
Go Dartmouth!
Go Red Raiders.
Go Tribe!
Go Dukes.
Go Eagles!
Go App.
Go USC.
Go Goose!
Go Patriots. Go Bears.
Go Pack.
Go Steelers.
Go Rays.
Go Mystic. Go Cap.
Go Hornets. Go Celtics.
Go Lakers!
And go vote.
Great. So now I'm going to launch the poll. We'll give everybody a minute to cast their vote. You get 1 vote per person. And I will launch the poll now. I should say that it's also anonymous. For just about everybody. There's 10 seconds left. All right. So the winner of the People's Choice Award is Unmute Yourself by Gracie Jew. Congrats, Gracie.
Wow, that's the first time I've seen that polling work. It's pretty cool. Although you see in advance how the election is going. I'm really glad we don't have that ability right now with our election. So we get to wait until tomorrow night. So thank you so much. Those are all such terrific entrees. So let me say one thing before we announce our the highest winner. I guess the video that spoke to not only students, faculty, the Duke community, but really to communities beyond Durham and within Durham and beyond. And there were many videos that did that. And I should say we are still learning about the impact of these videos, because in fact, some of them have been circulated and will continue to do that good work. But it gives me a great pleasure to announce our winner. And the title is If Children Could Vote by Esperanza Hernandez. And it's a powerful, powerful story featuring her, I believe, her cousins. And we will watch it.
If I could vote, I would vote for people to stop polluting so I can have a better future. And if I could vote, I would vote because other people should know to be kind to other people, even though if they're different. If I could vote, I would vote for people to stop hitting their dogs and to have a dog park.
So congratulations, Esperanza. Thank you to all of the wonderful students. I really wish we could, if we could actually show all of them, but we, in the interest of time and all the good things that you're doing in your life, I do want to thank every one of the people who worked on these and submitted them. They were inspiring, they remain inspiring. And we are so delighted and honored, really, to witness this great work. And I would say one final thing in closing. If you think of the collective aspirations that went into the making of this, it helps me already think about the democracy beyond the outcome of an election. And I also want to introduce the stars of that last video. Are they here? can we bring them on? Anna, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, Esperanza, I don't know if you want to reflect a little bit on your video, maybe introduce the stars of your video.
Yeah, so Natalie and Angelica are right there. I'm trying not to laugh too hard because they just started waving. But I just asked them if they could vote, if they would vote one day in thinking about the video, and they both said yes, because that was the way to have their voice heard. And then I just let them say their reasons on camera, and that's what they came up with. I don't know if they want to say hi or anything and unmute themselves.
Hi.
Hi.
Make sure you vote.
Right on. We will. No one can say it better. Thank you so much for being so courageous and honest and direct. Really great stuff. We're proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So,
So lastly, one thing we wanted to do is to make sure, if you haven't already done so, tomorrow's election day. I'm going to share my screen right now to share some resources, particularly for Duke students. If you don't know where your polling site is, Duke Votes on their Instagram page has great resources that can help. I'm pulling it up right here. If you go on Duke Votes' Instagram page, you can see based on where you live in Durham, whether you're on East Campus, oops, not what I meant to do, East Campus, West Campus, and any of the apartment complexes around campus, you'll know what your polling site is.
can I just thank you, Anna? Thank you so much. And thank you, Esperanza. Thank you for everyone who submitted on the voting message. Actually, this is very important. Sorry to make a plea that you make, if you haven't voted yet and are voting off campus, there is a LIFT code you can also request that will take you directly to the 5th precinct, the Patterson Recreation Center behind the VA hospital. It's hard to find. And you just need to be a Duke student for that. And also make sure that your friends, if they haven't voted yet, do vote and in the right precinct. Because one of the problems we face, and Jessica knows this, it's a boring topic, but if you vote in the wrong precinct, you may get a provisional ballot, which often gets thrown out. And students vote, have higher rates of provisional balloting. So we want to make sure you know, look up your voter ID, find out where you're registered, and that's where you need to vote if you're going to vote tomorrow on election day. Okay, happy democracy. I hope it's a happy democracy for you, whatever the outcome. And we look forward to being in touch and remaining in relationship with all the good people who made this good work possible. Thank you again, Antonia. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Anna, for all this good work. And we'll see you after the election is over. Okay, bye-bye now.